What would happen if you started or took your business to $1 million, $2 million, or $5 million in annual revenue? What would that mean to you personally, your family, community, and your network? It can happen. A Million Veteran Millionaires is a mindset engineering Zoom call platform created to rally and gather veteran startups or veteran-owned businesses who want to work together to help each other succeed. We will first focus on changing mindsets that keep you back and go through a process called mindset engineering to take steps to achieving success. We will feature other successful business owners who are leading the way, who are supporting this mission. We are limited to 100 attendees initially. The cost is free to attend. If you would like to know more, please visit amillionveteranmillionaires.com. You deserve to have a successful business, and we want to help you. Change your mindset, change your future.
We'll wait just a couple minutes and then we'll get started. Welcome to A Million Veteran Millionaires with Molly Brown, Mindset Engineer, and myself, Andy Valadez, your moderator, commentator, marketing guy for Marketing Dynamics here in Houston, Texas. And Molly, where are you at?
I'm in Connecticut.
Connecticut, yeah, the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And we usually, before we get these Zoom calls, we have a little discussion before we go on and kind of get warmed up for what we're going to talk about today. Hello, Michelle. How you doing today? Don't have your voice yet? And Michelle is from South Africa, but she is here in Houston.
Yes, I'm from south of the border.
Way south.
Hi, good to have you.
Likewise, nice to meet you finally. Heard so much about you.
All right, wait a couple more seconds, couple minutes here and kind of get going. But we started this thing. Molly's a veteran, I'm a veteran, and you don't have to be a veteran to participate. So it's more about the collaboration of the principles of mindset engineering. And of course, we want to create a community of successful business people, per se, that can be of mutual aid to each other, to our country. You know, right. As goes for me, as goes the veteran, goes the nation. So we, as we're talking in this space, you know, there's a message out there that veterans are homeless, that we're PTSD, and you know, a lot of issues that are not necessarily positive, but there are successful business owners out there. And ultimately, there's business owners that want to be successful. And so really what we're here to talk about, this evening is, it's a step-by-step process, but we're in module 4 tonight. And we'll be talking about some of the things that, will be helping us on our journey. So let's go ahead and get started. So again, welcome to A Million Veteran Millionaires. And you're catching us at the very early stage and timing of getting this discussion going and teaching folks about mindset engineering. So Molly Brown is a veteran, and she is going to help us with our next module, which I think we're going to entitle Beliefs. And we're going to talk a lot about beliefs, and we're going to do a recap on what we've done with module 1, 2, and 3 to lead us here, which we do have archived at the website, amillionveteranmillionaires.com. And so we'll archive this one as well, so those that want to catch up to where we're at. But, before the call, and even before, as we've been going on, I've been updating Molly as I've done my assignments, what I've noticed as far as the changes in my own life and business, and with my family and my community, my network, and even my goals for health and fitness, that kind of thing. So Molly, help us get moving on this thing. Let's just do a recap. Yeah. What have we talked about so far?
Sure. So we started talking about goals because that's where this whole process is going to start. That's really kind of establishing your own compass. What is it that you want? So we started talking about goals and having a adding specific detail to your goal, and what you don't need to know. You need to know a lot of specific detail about what you do want, but what you don't need to know is anything about how to get there. We're going to talk about all of that, how do you get there stuff as we go along. But at the beginning, when you're defining your goal, it can seem as unreasonable to all the people around you as as anything, the only thing that you need is you need to want it, and you need to be able to see it so you know where you're going. So we started with the goal, and then we took that goal and expanded it into something that you can watch in your mind. I call a mind movie, so that you're creating an environment, you're creating a scenario in your mind where this goal is real. And what this is actually doing is making new neurological connections in your brain. And this gives you a new, you can think of it as a new program in your brain to go to make decisions, to act, to process information. You're creating a new circuit to use to do that decision making in your brain. And right now you have a bunch of other movies that are based off of their memories or their past or their things that you have catastrophized and imagined badly in your brain. You've created a bunch of those circuits all over the place, really by accident through your whole life, or you've joined an organization like the Army and they've helped create a specific circuit through the training process for you to use for your decision making as a soldier, so that you are within their process of decision making as a soldier. So you have these things existing in your brain that are dictating your actions, your habits, and the outcomes that you're getting. So instead of going directly to those actions and habits and outcomes and trying to force them to change from the inside, we're going to the program that originates the behavior, and we're starting to write a new program to originate and change the behavior from the inside, from your identity level. So that was our first two lessons. And then last month, we talked about using the environment to, the environment is a mirror to who you believe you are, what things that you believe you're capable of and true about you and the world. Those circuits that you have in your brain established by those beliefs start to filter out all of the infinite information that's in the world around you and show you back things that you already believe to be true. So if you feel taken advantage of, you feel life is hard, you feel these things to be true about your life, you are observing those things to be true in the world around you. But what's the larger picture of what's true is many things are true of the world around you, and you have a circuit, you have filters that you've established in your brain to hide certain things from you and show you other things. And so the way that those circuits are, the memories, the experiences, all the past things that you've thought and you've been taught by school and your parents and people around you, end up creating a filter in your brain that show you those things back. So so last week we talked about it as doing it just a data collecting exercise. This is absolutely not an exercise about giving yourself a hard time or judging anybody else or holding somebody else in any of your past that have helped you build these circuitry and belief. It's not about putting blame on yourself or them. It's about using what you actually see in the world around you as collecting data of what what filters must exist in your brain in order for that to be what you're seeing. And so what we're doing is we're gathering information about our own program that's in our brain, and we're using the whole world to do it by what we're able to perceive from it. And so that brings us up to this week to talking about beliefs, after having kind of collected some of these beliefs that seem to be, we would maybe say they're true of the world, but really they're just true in our own ecosystem, and we're finding them in the world and interpreting them within our own ecosystem. So now that we have our goal from the first week, we have this really specific goal that we've been adding detail to and really kind of understanding the whole picture of our life that shows up when this goal is true. If the goal is I'm a millionaire, the goal is I am loved, I'm successful, I'm abundant, whatever the goal is, we've kind of established this whole picture of a life or a scenario around that. Now we take the beliefs that we're starting to identify that live in our ecosystem, and they are true for us simply because we believe that they're true. And there's a lot we could discuss on the neuroscience behind that. And I at this point, I'm not going to get into the weeds. And if we have a lot of questions on that, maybe our next one we will. I'm just going to keep it high level for this intro. But those beliefs, because we believe them to be true, they become true in our own ecosystem of ourselves. They dictate our actions because we believe them to be true. They influence the actions we take, and therefore our habits and the results that we get. So now we have this goal, we have this compass that points us always in the same direction of our goal, and we can start taking these beliefs that we see in the world around us and comparing it to the compass and saying, like, does this serve, does it align with my goal or not? And if it aligns with our goal, we want to keep it and continue to use it to make decisions and actions, and it will help us get to the goal. When we identify beliefs that are misaligned with our goal, those are the beliefs that we're going to negate or reverse or reprogram into something that does serve the goal. And there's some language things that we're going to discuss. We're not just going to go linguistically and put like a not in the sentence. We're going to make affirmative sentences for it. But the idea behind it would be, if I want to become a millionaire, just to keep a generic goal that we can all talk about. My goal is, I am a millionaire. I make $1 million in 2022. I make $1 million. And then it's July, I'm going and I'm paying my bills, and I open up my bank account and I look at my bank account and I go, oh, there's not $1 million in that bank account. Like that is a real data point. Now, what happens in my own beliefs and my own ecosystems with that real data point is going to be very interesting, and it's going to depend entirely on the program I'm running in my brain. So my brain can start, depending on how strong that belief is, that this is the year I make $1 million. I am on my way to making that $1 million. If I believe that, when I look at it, I say, no big deal. It's not December 31st. That's why there's not $1 million in it. I am on my way. No big deal. Pay the bills. I have no need to get emotionally involved, to get upset from my goal and change any of my behaviors. Continue on. If, on the other hand, when I look at that and I have this data point and it conflicts with my goal, and I say, uh-oh, everything is wrong. I'm not on track. I'm bad. And it starts to upset my emotional environment within the boundary of my own body, where my bank account does not live. If I've taken that information from the computer screen and allowed it to change the emotions and the beliefs that I feel inside, that is something that we need to take as a data point of what the map in our brain, what the thoughts in our brain are influencing us to act. And this is, my school of thought, or my understanding of the actual science of your thoughts becoming your actions, becoming the things in your life. My scientific and engineering understanding of that. That's very different than kind of the conventional wisdom, which would say, hey, bring up that bank account, look at that balance, look at that low number, and use it to motivate yourself to work harder. Use it to feel bad about yourself, and use that bad feeling to get out there at 4 o'clock in the morning and work harder. And that is legit business. But I hear it on Instagram every day. The problem with that is you're operating from a belief in fear. You're operating from a belief in lack. And so when you do that, being hard on yourself and motivating yourself to work from fear, that is a snowball that you start rolling in that direction, and you gather momentum and you start to make more connections in your brain that confirm that fear is your motivator, and that you need fear and you need negative things in your life to be afraid of in order to motivate yourself to act. And then those filters in your brain that we're trying to change, those filters get incentivized to continue to show you things to be afraid of, because the belief that you're actually operating on is fear will make me successful. Panic, lack, hurting being hard on myself will make me successful. Depriving myself of things will make me successful. Now, this is neither true nor false. It simply becomes true when you believe it and you start acting on it. And it serves us better to have a belief in your goal, to have a belief that everything you're doing is bringing you to your goal, to have the belief that an equally effective way to change your behaviors in order to change your result and reach your goal is to change the filters in your brain to show you different things in the world. And instead of showing you things in the world to run away from really fast, it could instead show you things in the world that are opportunities to make the $1 million that are your goal. And so you can change the filters in your brain that when you look out on the same world, instead of seeing things to be scared of, you see opportunities to make the money that you want. And both things, the reality is both things are present at all times. And the beliefs that you have, the identity that you have, the compass that you're holding inside as your goal determines what you see in the world. So what we're trying to do, getting this information to people, is allow people to act off of a fear, a belief in their goal, a belief in their brain as being this malleable, programmable servant to them to get them to whatever goal that they choose in their brain, instead of the world being an endless source of things to motivate you in fear. Maybe I'll stop there for questions. Or
so
how does that hit?
Good point. I'm reading a book now called The One Thing. It was written by the founder of Keller Williams, and a real estate guy, a friend of mine, recommended this book, said it was life-changing. But what's his name? Gary Keller was pushing himself, using the negative, like you were saying, to be successful, but he became tyrannical per se. His health suffered. He was successful, but even like his staff, like if they were late, he locked them out of the office. So that's how motivated and focused on success. Now, he was successful, but he was doing it the hard way, and making it miserable for himself, making it miserable for others, or way around. But I think you're saying, like, really by being more, relaxed, being who you see yourself to be, that the process can be a lot more rewarding, positive, healthy. Is that the takeaway on that?
Yeah, and your beliefs fulfill themselves. So if you believe you need things to be afraid of to be successful, you will always have things to be afraid of, and it will be tied to your success. A lot of people believe that they need to spend more time and work harder to become more successful. And they therefore spend more time and work harder. And when they are successful, it fulfills that belief. There are ways of changing a paradigm, of changing an industry, of using technology, inventing, creating technology that mean you don't have to work harder to become more successful, and you will be blind to all of those options so long as your belief says work harder, work longer hours, sacrifice more. You will make yourself blind to options that are other than that.
I remember there's a lot of TV shows out there on business, like Shark Tank and Hell's Kitchen. the profit, and they all scare you to death of like going into business is like, do I really want to go that way? But we know that people are successful, and they do it right. I know a lot of, in my network and folks that, I know that are successful, they seem to have a balance, or at least a counterbalanced life. You can never really truly have a balanced life because that's very, very difficult, but you can work hard, play hard, and make sure you're counterbalancing that in your life per se. But even as we've gone through these lessons, and as I've applied, like my goal, which is more of a fitness goal, but I do want to make $1 million. I do want to have $1 million in the bank, but I'm looking at every area of my life. Before the call here, I was like, what would you take for your health? Would you take $1 million? Would you take $10 million? So your health has value, and you always want to be healthy because, let's say you go get the success and you're not healthy. Well, it was all for naught, right? So,
and there's a belief embedded in what you're saying too. And the belief is that you can, you have to prioritize one quadrant of your life over the others, that you can't raise them all together, that you have to choose which one, and that's a belief. I have things work differently for me. I have a different belief about myself that's kind of been true for me my whole life. I didn't have to reprogram this belief. It's one that when I look at, my view of the world and line it up with my goal and my compass, I was like, well, this one lines up, and I just keep my existing belief. But everything for me I improve in multiple areas of my life at the same time. When I buckle down and I have a goal at work and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna like up my career. I'm gonna go for something at work. Well, my career gets better, but somehow something in it is linked to me where I start pushing myself at the gym more, and now my fitness gets better. I lose weight, my health goes up, and I start making records at the gym. I'm also a musician, and so the busier I get, or the more excited I get about things, the more kind of inspiration I have to sit down and play the piano. So when I have some kind of spark in any one of these areas, instead of like when I was in college and people are like, oh, I got to study all the time. I was in college, I got my degrees in engineering, physics, and chemistry at the same time. And many people in an engineering degree are just like, well, I got to be at the library, I got to study, I don't have time to work out, I don't have time for any of these things. And it kind of worked differently for me. The more passionate I got about something I was academically studying, the more excited I was. And then I was like, I gotta go for a run and like process and think about this. And then my fitness is improving. I'm out running a lot. And then I'm like, I just have this creative energy that I also just want to go and play piano. And so my time in college, instead of sacrificing, my health and sacrificing my art and only getting the college degree, they all kind of came up together. And the negative works as well too, when I'm just like, I don't feel like playing piano, I don't feel like getting out to the gym, I don't really care if I get a promotion at work or whatever, and I just start watching TV or something, like they all come down together. So it's just this belief that holds itself true in my life because I hold it true. And I know people with the opposing belief, and they say, no, when I'm going for a goal at work, I stop going to the gym, I don't have time for that, I focus. Or and your belief dictates what you get.
Yeah, to build on what you just said, and I want to bring Michelle in. The thing that I learned from the one thing is what I'm doing right now bringing me closer to the bigger goal, and so that's how now I look at, there's a lot of priorities, right? And we can't really juggle because you're not, they say multitasking and all that. That's not really true. So you have to focus on, if it's your music, if it's the gym, I put it out there that it's not wasted time. It's actually productive time. The 2 or 3 hours I'm in the gym, I'm thinking about my business. I'm thinking about my family. I'm thinking about, my network. I'm thinking about all the things that I want to do or accomplish for the day. That, like you said, I get excited and motivated. So then once I'm done with that, then I go knock out the big rock or whatever, the big thing that needs to get done. And that's an accomplishment for the day, but it aligns with the vision. So with Michelle, she's a friend here in Houston. I've known her for several years, and she actually didn't know this, but she wound up challenging me because I was telling her about this mindset engineering concept. And she goes, Andy, if you were to be blessed with $1 million, what would you do with it? And I never thought, like, you know what, maybe I need to put this out on a spreadsheet. What would I do with $1 million? And that could be, what would you do with $10 million? So Michelle, knowing what you know about mindset engineering so far, what brought you to the Zoom call, and ultimately, what are some things that you kind of see from the discussion so far?
Well, basically, I got the invite to come to the call, and I missed the previous ones, which, I wanted to participate in. So basically, in a nutshell, I go back and I think about my homeboy, the Prophet Kim Clement. And he would always say, what you see, you be. And you look much better than you look right now in the future. So to me, what Molly has been sharing, it's the same principle, you know what I'm saying? And it's when Molly was sharing that, you focus on different arenas, but it's basically affecting your body, soul, and spirit, that everything lines up and you work on everything as a whole. And, you focus on everything as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that visualization exercise, if you're blessed with $1 million, what do you do with it? That's our first two modules of like, what is the goal, and then build a reality around the goal. If you want to be a millionaire, but $1 million seems foreign to you, how are you going to bring it into your life? It's like applying a clutch and having your gears going at different speeds. You need to match the speed of the thing that you're trying to engage with. And you can do that by visualizing what does it look like to have the $1 million, to have the thing.
Yep, that's very true.
So I did the calculation. I don't know where from the top of my head what the actual number is, but I think it's something close to 83,000 a month, which comes out to 3,000 plus a day. And so people are doing it. I mean, look around. I mean, there's successful people out there. Look even at my own mother. She didn't graduate from college. She chopped cotton when she was very young. 13th child of 16. Retired from AT&T and wound up getting a lump sum for retirement. And she wound up buying our family home that was built in Texas, here in College Station, Texas. And she bought it for like $15,000 from my uncle, who had gotten kind of backwards in the tax arrears. And so she took over the property, made it pretty, revamped it. I mean, new wood floors, a little 1,500 square foot house. She ran it as a vacation rental for 8 years. She'd never done anything with the internet or anything like that. I helped her out a little bit. And she ran it from League City here near Houston. And when she was doing probably $40,000 a year just off this little vacation rental, and the first one to open in College Station. When she got ready to sell it, I said, put it on the market for $1 million, mindset. It was like, well, let's see what happens. She wasn't in a rush to sell it, so it was in a historic district right across from one of the major universities here in Texas. And she wound up putting it on the market for 1.2 million. Mom's smart. It took her about 2 years to sell it. She never told me what she sold it for, but it was close to $1 million. As I told her, I said, I think you're going to have to open up multiple bank accounts if I think you sold it for what you sold it for. She goes, well, I think I'm going to have to open up 3 bank accounts, because I knew that they, insured it for at least 250. So it had to have been over $750,000. But just look at the goal. Her goal was 1.2, and I said $1 million, but she came close at 750 or so. That's even a whole lot better than, she thought possible, because all the real estate agents, come look around, they want to sell the property, but they're saying, oh, the market rates are 250, 300,000 here. She could have sold it for that, but she held out. She believed, and of course the circumstances, everybody thinks their home might be worth more than it really is. And that's kind of the discussion right now as we look at the Houston market. The rates went crazy for a while. Now they're kind of tapering down. But if you've got something truly unique and, and you believe in it, and, there's the right buyer for the right opportunity, that could be life-changing, right? And anyway, so it's possible, I guess, is all this is. It could happen, is what we say,
Well, that's encouraging to a lot of people.
So, you've got people that start landscaping business, and I just look at my landscaper here. I mean, he started off with this truck. Now he's got a crew. He's rarely at our home when, I write the check for the. And by the way, happiness is writing the check, not mowing the grass yourself. And then I heard a long time ago, never do something yourself that you can pay somebody else to do, kind of a thing, because you're just going to necessarily, not utilize that time correctly. But he's doing really well. It's hard work. It's hot out there, but put your mind to the goal. You can grow a business that way. We read stories about that as well. And today I wore a suit. We were talking about that earlier because it has different meanings. You want to talk a little bit about what we talked about, Molly, when it came to, I just decided to be unpredictable.
Yeah, well, I mean, you wearing a suit, and I was talking about beliefs today, wearing a suit maps to different things in different people's brains. It means different things. And there's, I think, like a certain generation where wearing a suit was a signifier of success. You're not working with your hands, you're working in an office, and you make a certain amount of money, and suit means you've arrived and you're successful. And now, or also I'm from California, and we're not really, we're stereotypically not suit people in California, but wearing a suit kind of means like, well, you're tied to an office, you're stuck working for the man or something. And really, like, if you're in your board shorts and flip-flops, then you're free, or you get to wear your golf clothes, then you're golfing on a weekday and working on the golf course, which is more successful than wearing a suit and being in an office. So it means different things to different people. And if you have, and you also said too about the suits being like in the movie industry, the suits being kind of the money people, and there being this belief in the industry that there's like creative people and money people, and there's kind of an opposition between the two. So if you were a creative person and someone in a suit approached you, and suit was mapped in your brain to somebody in opposition to you, your immediate attitude, your immediate interaction with them is going to be defensive, and have a lot of, you're going to show up with a lot of beliefs and behaviors and actions that are going to dictate the outcome of this relationship based off of what suit means to you. And if you haven't checked out your own beliefs ahead of time to say, like, does this actually align with the outcome I want to have with conversations with people in suits? Maybe it would be more beneficial to you and your goal if someone with a suit approached you and he said, oh, good, a money person, I need them on my side, I need their help, I need something from them. And you were able to initially approach them as collaborators and equals and a team. And that attitude that you would approach with based off of the belief that you hold is going to ultimately dictate the results that you get from that interaction. So it really serves to kind of do these writing exercises and these observation data collecting exercises of the world around you to draw those beliefs out. Then that's what coaching is talking to a coach, somebody who's trained in identifying these beliefs to help you identify your beliefs and then choose ahead of time whether you want to keep and act on this belief or you want to reprogram and get rid of a belief, so that in the moment when you need to act and get the results to get to your goal, you've already assessed and put in place beliefs that are going to get you the results that you want.
And I may mention, I've worked in corporate America for a while, so the suit was kind of your identifying your rank. And we talk a little bit about the military having a rank structure, and you have good leaders and you have bad leaders. So, there's different things to think about when it comes to like your beliefs and how you carry yourself. That you want to talk a bit about some of the rank world, or?
Yeah, just as a community of veterans around us, that there are beliefs that are installed in your brain when you enlist in the military, whatever your branch is. You go through training, and a rank structure, a rigid rank structure, becomes a reality of your world, and a reality of your decision making, and a reality of your place in a hierarchy. And that's important for that period of your life. Well, if you are continuing to operate with needing a rank structure, looking to assign people to a rank structure, after you're in the military, when you're out of the military and you're trying to interact within your family or your coworkers, even in a corporate structure where, yes, there are managers and executives and laborers, there's a pay scale, but there's really no rank of value of people. The concept of rank in the military does not translate into a successful civilian experience. So it is something that makes sense to identify as a belief that you don't need anymore. It no longer aligns with your new goal, and to be able to reprogram it so that everywhere you go, you're not trying to place yourself as above or below all the people around you, because that is, well, one, it's a waste of energy. You don't need your brain to be running those kind of loops. There's nothing to do with that information. And two, it'll mess up your actions because you aren't above or below anybody. I don't care if you're the CEO or the janitor, you're not above or below anybody. And if you hold a belief that you are above or below, or the generic belief in a rank structure in the civilian world, it will inhibit your actions in a way that's not going to make you as successful as you can be. So that is definitely one of the beliefs that us as veterans need to be alert and looking out for different ways that belief is going to mold and form to the things that we're looking for. To as a civilian in a corporate world, do I speak up in a meeting? When I first started my civilian career as an engineer, I wouldn't speak up in meetings because there were more senior engineers there than me. And I felt like, well, I am not going to, if what I had to say needed to be said, somebody more senior than me would say it, or that I should take it offline, have them say it, and pass it up kind of a chain of command. Well, that's just really inefficient in a civilian world, to be offline that kind of way. And also the redundancy isn't there. Like, I am there holding a seat as an engineer and as an expert on a certain kind of product, and the other engineers, although they are more senior, are expert on different things. And it is my job holding that seat to speak up on things relevant to that, to more senior people. That's my job there. And so I had this kind of inhibiting thing that was really holding my career back, because I wouldn't speak up whenever anyone more senior was around. And when I identified that was coming from a belief, it wasn't coming from the specific project, it wasn't coming from the specific people in the room or anything, it was coming from a belief in a rank structure that I had mapped in my brain, that everywhere I went, I had to know my place in a rank structure, and I had to have everyone else assigned to a place in a rank structure. And when I identified that is a belief that's not serving me, and dismantled that belief to say, I am equal and valuable, and you are equal, everybody is equal and valuable, it completely changed. It changed my career, all the things that changed together, right? It changed my career, it changed my family, my relationship with my family, and my personal relationships, because I changed a belief in above and below with a belief of everybody's equal and valuable, and it totally new results, totally new world to live in.
And we were talking about, I do some volunteer work with the American Legion and Marine Corps League, and they're, as a principle of the organization we're all vets. There's no rank structure here. And we really just work collaboratively to focus on the mission. And so our job, as leaders is how do we welcome new talent, the next generation of vets to carry on the baton, because at some point, you have to retire and go take your rest, I guess, and live life, without all these volunteer types of activities. So a lot of these guys are thinking like, okay, how do we, and ladies as well, how do we pass the baton and keep the mission going? So we have to hear feedback from others, and we've heard the term servant leader before, is, the more value you add to your community, the more people come to you for advice, direction, input, and you have success. recognize success a lot of times because of just who you are, confident in your person, confident in your beliefs. You know you can navigate, in many circles. I think that's what you're saying on some of this stuff is like once you know who you are and what you're capable of, you don't have to necessarily wear it on your sleeve to make it known.
Right.
So do we have a homework assignment for this next one?
This is another thing that you can use your journal for is recognizing beliefs. Like your kind of last week we were scouting the outside world as a mirror of things being reflected, back to us. And so it's really kind of a continuation of that, of identifying now that we have a bunch of individual data points of reflections back to us, is there a pattern where all of these things are a belief? Is it use your journal to start to confirm so that you're trusting the process of like, these are filters I've made in my brain. These are beliefs that live as connections in my brain. And now I'm seeing them as physical objects in the world. I'm seeing them play to be true in the world. And this it becomes evidence, in your mind for the power of your mind to show you different things in the world. And then as we go through and we change the beliefs and you're doing your journaling, you're going to start to see new evidence in the world that was, of course, always there. You just were paying attention to this evidence. So right now we're just mapping, I'm paying attention to this evidence and this evidence is here. And then our next thing is to say like, okay, I'm choosing to pay attention here. And now I'm seeing this evidence. And now you're going to have these data points for yourself to see, oh, this is how I use my brain. This is how I take control of my thinking and use it to engineer the life I want to show up for me in the outside world. This is how I do the process.
Along that line, I was reading this book called Chopping Wood, Carrying Water. And the guy had me do, I guess in the book I read, he says, do an exercise every hour, write down how you're feeling, what you're doing. And so at the end of that exercise, you could see, if you were positive, negative, were you frustrated, were you tired, were you angry, do you feel like a victim about something or whatever. I mean, he gave kind of some ideas. And so every hour I set my little clock and I'd write down, okay, I'm feeling, hopeful, feeling rested or whatever. And I went back and looked at it. There's like a pattern of how you're believing that during the day, so. But I think that's part of what you're saying is, your beliefs are manifesting. Even like, again, talking with Michelle, there's a lot of things that are happening right now. I just took up a client that's in the mortgage industry. And before I took them, I wanted to know if they wanted to get to $1 million. It's like, I'm looking for clients that have a mindset of like, yes, I want to go from where I'm at to $1 million. And they're, doing really well. And so now that they're in line, it's like, how do we do that? It's a step-by-step process, and so now we're just implementing some recommendations, those kinds of things to get them there, but money magnifies you from what I think we've talked about in the past. If you don't have yourself right first, it may create more problems for you than you want, right? But I'm believing for success, and I think we're going to help people to find out what their goals are, and maybe they don't want $1 million, but they just want to get to a certain level, which is still fine. And I think what we'll find is even beyond, as I talked to Michelle, I said, there's things happening now that I think it's going to far exceed, that $1 million threshold. As I started to get back into the real estate world, I met a guy that's hosted these little networking events. They had about 75 to 100 people there. And these are people that were doing deals. I mean, they're buying apartment complexes, they're flipping houses, they're doing amazingly well. And he basically wanted to teach others to do what he's doing. And so he invited me to one of his courses this Sunday, which I'm going to go to just to kind of check it out, open my horizons. Like, let's see what they're doing. And if it's something I think I can do or something I can help, then, I'll jump into that community per se. But, there's different things that folks are doing. There's videos out there you probably see on YouTube, that they're making money on Amazon, they're making money on TikTok or whatever. Maybe go and find out what they're doing and kind of explore Shopify. I've got one client that I'm looking at maybe selling one of her products on Shopify. So basically I'll list it and promote it. And of course, learn how to do that myself so that if it works, it works. She's happy, I'm happy. And kind of
Yes. And you want to start from a place of your goal, which is clear of who do you want to be and what does that world look like? That's your compass. And then you hear of all these opportunities, right? And you're comparing them to your compass. And because there's a lot of sales pitches too. And so you don't want to go out simply excited and primed for a sales pitch. You want to go out, excited and energized on your goal. And then everything that anybody, any belief, any opportunity, any thought, idea, emotion that anybody else hands you, the first thing you do with it is you compare it to your goal. And if it matches up, cool, go for it. If it doesn't, you throw it away.
Awesome. Any questions, Michelle? Any feedback? Your voice, like you're on mute. Still on mute.
I don't know.
There you go.
On the phone. No, it's been amazing to hear what you've got to share. Very thought-provoking, and no, I appreciate it very, very much, and just gives one ideas of what one can do and what to work on, and so we can positively move forward. And people need to realize that everybody has a piece of the puzzle, and when we come together, we can complete the puzzle. Because I need you, you need Molly, I need Molly, she needs you, we need one another.
I've heard it said we're better together. So
yeah,
that's the vision of the Million Veterans, Millionaires is, if you become successful, when you can take care of your family, you can take care of your community, and maybe you can help another vet or another patriot person that wants to be a part of this community to advance their vision, their cause. And that's the whole purpose of what we started here, and we'll continue to develop it. And any parting words, Molly?
I'll see you guys next time.
All right. Change your mindset, change your future. Go to millionaires.com. We'll park this module for beliefs, I think is what we're calling it there. And also there again is a university from Network in Action that's available. The login is at the website, and it's basically a module to help you, if you're in business, to go from point A to point B to C to D, all the way up to your $1 million business. So check that out. It's free, and it's provided again by Network in Action. And thank everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you next month.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. Good to see you.
America needs veterans more than ever. As a veteran business owner, you are equipped with a focus, professionalism, and dedication that is rare in the marketplace. We are looking for former military, make it happen business leaders like you to join forces with the marketplace mission called Veterans Business Force National, a division of Network in Action Business Force based in Houston, Texas. We are rallying patriots to work together to grow opportunities for yourself, each other, and our community around the country. We meet once a month via Zoom to share our vision and align with fellow warriors. Together, we are stronger. Google Veterans Business Force National to find us before we find you. Apply to join our mission at networkinaction.com. We are Veterans Business Force National, on mission and locking arms.